Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Hyperion, and welcome back to the Wilds of Wildemount campaign. We're starting today on session 44. This is going to be part 1. With us, I have Dawn playing as Soren, Lily is playing as Windchime, Rocky is playing as Edward, Kale is playing as Brian, and I, Cameron, am playing as Moonzik. And I'm going to pass things off to Emily, who has a message for us. Take it away.
Want to add swashbuckling ship battles to your DMing arsenal? Follow Sky Zephyr's Kickstarter project so that you don't miss out. This vehicle combat overlay will allow you to have ship battles and swashbuckling adventures without having to leave the comfort of your favorite 5e D&D settings. We set out to create a fun, simple yet dynamic system that complements and doesn't overwhelm traditional 5e player combat. If this sounds like fun to you, please support the project when it goes live. You can do so by following the pre-launch Kickstarter page that you can get notified when it goes live by following the links in all associated descriptions. This Kickstarter was created for you to customize your bag of treats for exactly what you want and leave out the stuff that you don't need. You can to choose from. You can get PDF with dozens of pieces of original artwork. Gain the official playtester tag with your name included in the PDF. Dozens of custom sky-based feats, dozens of spells, creatures, and magic items. A sky battle map for VTTs, GM and PC Zephyr combat trackers, high-res artwork and game-ready stat blocks of Zephyrs and their crews, STL files for 3D printing of multiple ship crews, a custom ship builder, and even if we make our stretch goals, a Sky Zephyr DM screen, sky or space combat encounters, and STLs of multiple sizes of Sky Zephyr airships. And in addition, today we have to show you one of the pieces of artwork that we have. As you can
Ooh.
see here, this is the Thunderbolt. Crewed by bloodthirsty pirates, the Thunderbolt has a one-of-a-kind engine, allowing it to travel at unprecedented speeds while dealing out lightning damage to other vessels, giving it a fearsome reputation. Again, if this sounds at all interesting to you, follow the link to uh, uh the pre Kickstarter page in all of the associated descriptions. Sending it to you, Brian, for our session recap.
Well, last episode was pretty interesting. We headed into a store. I've never actually been able to get anything from that place before, but after perusing, we've reserved a couple of items and got our eye on a couple more while we figure out how to convert the illicitly gained gems into a more clean currency. While that was happening, Soren noticed a commotion by the lighthouse, which he had come to Nicodranus purely to see. He volunteered the quest to us to figure out what was going on in inside and to figure out why the light had gone out. Venturing inside, we found that a corrupted plant full of necromantic and conjured power was clutching at the building. Weak to fire, we burned through some of the plant creatures that were inside and are now climbing the lighthouse, hopefully to figure out what happened.
At the scene of our previous battle, the bodies of these creatures lay at your feet as the last tendrils of entangling plants begins to fade away as the vines um, slither their way back into the ground to make the terrain not as difficult to traverse. Um, being in this area, what would you like to do?
Come on,
Windchime.
guys.
No.
Are you all right?
Yeah, more or less. Didn't we? Any sign of the scouts missing? I'm pretty sure somebody found
There's
something.
there's one right over here by Windchime. She said that Windchime, you said that they
Hmm.
were unconscious, didn't you?
Yeah, I tried to heal them and then we got attacked.
Are they in any immediate danger of actually dying?
Can I check the guy again?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say you can definitely re-roll if you'd like to,
Okay.
without the looming threat of violence.
Mm-hmm.
With a 12, and I'm actually this is your second time. Go ahead and do so at advantage,
Okay, I'll just roll again.
being that you know you have 13. Okay. So you you make your way back to the body of one of the guards. And you see the everybody can now see the scraps of green and blue attire um affixed to them. You see they are covered in vines. Um they appear to like have almost melded with their skin. Um and drained of most of their coloration, making them pale and um, barely just breathing. Uh, as you remember from last time when you had cast Cure Wounds on them, it seems to have had an effect, right? You saw the color return to their cheeks and then
Mm-hmm.
slowly drain out. Um, clearly, whatever, given all of that and your checks, um, clearly, whatever it is that these vines are doing to them, they appear to simultaneously be keeping these bodies alive, but only just barely, draining
Mm-hmm.
them of uh, whatever life essence they are using, feeding the plants um, around them.
I think they're okay right now, but they're connected to this plant. The plant's not letting them be alive, but they're not. It's keeping them alive too.
Is there? Sorry, I.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Mage Hand, and then I'm going to pluck myself with Mage Hand because I still have Levitate on me. I'm gonna float down to the guy with Mage Hand, and then I'm going to try to take my knife and try to like cut away at whatever contact, you know, plant to
I.
skin.
Are we sure we want to do that? They might be cursed to
Oh,
have to be attached to the plants.
And plus, it's so close to the skin, it might be really dangerous to cut them free without damaging them. We might want to wait until this whole situation is resolved.
mm, that's true.
Do we have anything that can remove curses?
Soren and Windchime, I would say the both of you can very easily come to the conclusion, being that Soren, your nature check from earlier, and Windchime, your your medicine check from just a moment ago, can come to the conclusion that it would be rather dangerous to cut them free, mostly because, um, firstly, that the whatever they are, the toxins or whatever that is, they're leached onto it, is keeping them alive, right? Um, for feeding purposes. Um, in their current state, an unnatural detachment might just be enough to trigger their death, right?
Okay.
Um, Soren, and you would think that these vines, they are very similar to the vines that you had burnt before, and it does, seeing that you had seen the reaction before, you're afraid that it might let out some of that toxin for those who are around it.
Yes, we definitely should not remove the vines from his body. There
Understood.
has to be another way to like help him, but cutting through them right now is only going to kill him.
I think we should probably deal with the root of whatever's causing this, and then hopefully we can come back and help them and still be in a better condition.
Yes, I suppose that's the option. Like that's the alternative and superior option to alleviating these people's duress.
Edward,
Yes.
can you contact the officer we talked to? Tell them to send a team proficient in healing magic and perhaps one proficient in dealing with curses. That way, basically, that we know where the bodies are, and we think they're alive, but we don't have the skill to
Wait, right now?
save
I don't
them.
feel prepared.
All right.
I'm afraid we're alone on this one.
We'll come back for them.
See what's at the top of the tower.
Let's get moving. Soren, you take point.
Actually, what is your passive investigation?
Me
Oh,
or
glad you
Edward.
asked. Wait, who are you asking?
Edward.
Edward. Okay, I'm glad you asked. It's a 17.
Okay. Something shiny, maybe gold, catches your eye from one of the bodies of the blights laying in front of you. Conveniently, this one.
I'm gonna send my mage hand and fetch it from a distance, in case it's dangerous.
Your mage hand maneuvers its way uh, toward the body, uh, and at the heart of the blight, uh, your mage hand rips, tearing through the snake-like coiling vines, uh, tearing out a small gold pendant, maybe 2 inches in diameter.
Is
You
there like
see,
a
as you pull it
like an
closer,
insignia? Oh,
go
sorry,
what?
my bad. What
As
was
you
I
pull
wrong?
it closer, you see there is a coiled snake, inlaid into it, with fangs that are bared in the snarl.
Would I be able to recognize it as like something like an Ukatoa insignia or like any
Go ahead and
particular
give me a
historic
religion check.
religion check?
Hmm?
Okay. What we got?
wow,
With
we
a
have not rolled above a
That
10
is not
today.
a good religion check.
yeah, with a 9, it's definitely interesting. It probably has some sort of religious or cult like affiliation. But as for what it is specifically, you've never encountered it before. It's definitely not Ukatoa, though.
I'm gonna hold this little pendant with the insignia to the party and float it around them and ask, does anyone here particularly recognize this symbol?
Before.
Does anybody have proficiency with religion?
No.
Much like how druids don't have proficiency to nature most of the time, clerics don't have
Otherwise,
proficiency to religion
No.
most.
does worshipping Arathis have any like leeway into this kind of check or anything?
This one, no. Arathis. I think that everybody across the board can tell that this is not one of the prime deities.
How does this
I would
medallion
al-
look
Would
besides?
we also know it's not one of the ones we worship or serve?
I've already established it's not Ukatoa.
Also questioning, I very highly doubt it has anything to do with Aeon, but
No, not no, because she's a prime deity.
right.
How old does this medallion look? Like, is it?
It definitely, I would say it is old. Not that it has been ill kept, but that it is not a coin that would be in circulation. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it looks older, maybe 100 years, too. Just at a glance.
Either way, these mysteries I think we can probably stand around and solve a little bit later. We need to get to the bottom of this. Or rather, considering this is a lighthouse, perhaps the top.
Still avoiding touching that one?
Pardon?
I'm gesturing to the amulet with the mage hand.
To place it in Brian's hand.
What?
Sorry,
I
what?
asked if you're still avoiding touching that one.
Oh, my bad. I thought you said to give it.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems relatively. Well, I mean, I don't exactly particularly trust items being dropped by enemies that have most definitely been cursed by some sort of source of blight or corruption. I've got.
Agree. Um, she's
I mean,
going
roll.
to open her hand with, and she's gonna put a piece of cloth over.
Wait, don't you also have Mage Hand?
I do, but I don't. I want to store this in like a bag or a pocket, and I'd rather it be wrapped. She's going to kind of make like a bag out of like, you know how you just like hold loose fabric and make a pseudo bag?
Yeah, I get you. Um, okay.
That way we can wrap it and put it in the bag so that if we're rifling around, we don't accidentally touch it.
A sudden flare of sickly purple light bursts from the top of the lighthouse. A flash that almost seems to arc down the twisted vines encompassing the tower, plunging to their roots. Slowly, you see again the remains of the vine blights almost begin to wriggle.
We need to move now.
Yep, not dealing with this one.
Agreed.
Brian's gonna set a small fire. Actually, no, there's people connected. No, not going to set a small fire.
Okay.
Nope, Edward is gonna float away with his Mage Hand.
Let's get moving.
Making your
Uh,
way into the back into the lighthouse. Um, the interior of the lighthouse is eerily silent, with a few stray vines that are curling along the stone steps. you make your way up into the lighthouse, climbing step after step. The interior, it appears that it doesn't look as overtaken as the exterior, though you know that the point, was from inside where all of these vines were originating. Uh, you almost as if it is beckoning you to come.
On guard. Let's not be too loud about this one.
Stay quiet,
Uh,
stay vigilant, and just make sure you keep an eye on everyone.
Going as quickly and as quietly as I can. I actually do want to take point on this one.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check. Okay. As you make your way up the top, you find another tangle of bramble wrapped around a humanoid form. Being familiar with the way of this, um, you know that, kind of glancing your way into through the vines, you see a copper-skinned teenage tiefling dressed in vestments of the Wild Mother.
Oh no.
As you look further up into the room, you see a large, rough-hewn crystal at the center of a 15-foot diameter room, and it seems to be pulsing with this same sickly purple light, almost like that of a heartbeat. Most notably, however, you see a jagged longsword with a gilded serpent round around the hilt is jammed into it at the top.
Detect magic is still up for me.
Okay. Um, Absolutely. You see necromancy with hints of transmutation. Um, More importantly, the way that the magic is flowing here, you can see very clearly that, yes, the crystal itself is magical, but whatever is emanating from this sword seems to have its tendrils wrapped around the uh the crystal.
Hey, Cameron.
Hey,
This is out of game. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do.
before you do anything, I do want to say this is out of the game entirely. Can everyone double check their describe? I had to repunch in my name, and I'm the only one in here.
Yeah,
I was
Thank
just
you.
trying to figure out why that wasn't working. Thank you.
thank you so much for that.
This
All right.
episode was not about to describe.
Because I've done this exact play as a DM, and
Mute yourself. Mute yourself. Mute yourself.
right. Yeah. The reason I'm apologizing out of game is I've done this exact play as a DM, but I don't want to ruin this. This is cool. Brian is going to grab the sword and pull it out.
Okay, roll me a strength check. Athletics.
Athletics. I suck at that.
Ooh.
You begin to try to pull it out, and it just doesn't seem to want to budge.
Little help, guys?
On it. Music's gonna jump up and help.
Okay, are you helping or are you doing this yourself?
I am helping him.
Okay,
And
then go ahead and roll athletics at advantage, Munzik.
Good fucking lord!
Okay, well, that's a 3.
Oh, you pull,
You see both of
pull.
us like pulling on it. Brian's foot up on the crystal, like help!
It doesn't seem to want to budge. Something about this fucking sword, it's embedded itself deeply into
Soren, grab on,
this.
grab onto onto my waist and help me pull.
That I'm not sure if that's okay.
Soren, Soren, why are you just staring off into the distance?
Hold on. Dawn?
Yeah.
You're being called upon.
I'm sorry. My internet went out. What was being said?
Basically to catch you back up, we're trying to pull the sword of the crystal. I failed. Cameron, Moonzik started helping me out, failed, and now Brian's looking at you like, grab onto my waist and pull me. We're gonna get this out.
Soren's gonna grab. Yeah, I guess Soren will grab Brian's waistband and just kind of put his weight into it. He's not gonna be all that into it, but he's gonna be pulling on it.
Okay.
Um,
Soren, go. You're giving the help action, or you want to try to pull
wait.
it out yourself?
So there's the two of them, right?
Yeah, we're already pulling on it. We just failed with advantage. We just need another reason to roll again.
Instead of that, Soren's gonna say, "Here, maybe this will help a little bit. You do want the help, right?"
Of course. Help!
Soren's going to put his hand on her shoulder and cast guidance.
Okay.
Be great and all. Magical strength fills me, I guess. Can I remake a check with just guidance?
Sure.
Well, don't you still get advantage since both of you are doing it?
Sure.
Oh,
This is so dumb. Why am I rolling this? I have a
I
-1.
I can roll it too.
Okay. So you try.
that's
Go
a-
ahead. You're more than welcome to add that die, but I do not think it makes a difference.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
Nope. I'm not even gonna add it. Brian is so exhausted that she's just gonna step back down. Like, nope, it's stuck. Nobody can do this.
Like, this is fucking hilarious. Like a
No amount of
like
magical
sword wrapped in
influence.
stone. I would, if you are willing, wind chime. You think, you're not a weakling.
Yo,
You
they
can
what you
probably
really
do this.
mean.
You guys was that sword like really in there? It looks really hard.
It's
You
impossible.
see
I
Brian's
don't think there's
currently
anybody. I don't think there's anybody in the world that could do this.
You see Brian's currently has both feet up onto the thing, pulling. Moonzik is like has his dagger out to try to like wedge it out from where it is. You see just like trying to stop Brian from falling. Soren's like kind of got his hands up almost lackadaisically, like just like
Why
gonna
is
catch
he
her if he-
lackadaisical when this is the Wild Mother? By the way,
And he
I'm a
said
little
he
pissed at
wasn't as
him.
into it.
Mhm. I want to
think you-
try.
Be my guest. I need a breather. I'll come help like in a second. What
Wind
the hell?
chime.
You guys
Wind
have
chime
10
steps
minutes.
up.
Like, I could possibly identify it might have.
Oh my god! Just let Windchime try.
Let me pull at it. She rubs her hands to get them all warm, and then she takes hold of this
Then
sword.
wasn't that funny? I mean, what?
Okay, go ahead and give me an athletics check.
Athletics.
Oh, nat 20.
You see, out of all, it was a DC 14.
I
A little awkward.
Reaching
mean-
your hands out, wrapping itself around the hilt. You give it a solid pull and a tug, and you hear the grating of blade on stone crystal, I guess,
Mhm.
as you wrench it out of the crystal. At that moment, I need everybody to make me a dexterity saving throw.
That's why. That was...
Oh hell.
Oh, I didn't need to, I shouldn't have made that an advantage.
That's okay. Wow, we are rolling trash
Like
today.
shit? Yeah.
What the fuck? Congratulations
so-
to Lily for getting on the other side of the
By the
D20.
way- Nat 1.
Yeah.
um,
No.
Yeah,
No.
That 5
that-
is my first.
Oh,
That
what?
5 is my first. That's a nat 1.
Oh yeah, you're right.
so it was a DC 14.
Jesus.
So everybody except Lily fails.
No,
Oh,
Rocky
and
got
Rocky.
it.
A sudden flare of light blinds you for a moment. As you wipe the spots from your vision, you watch as the vines choking the lighthouse seem to grow pale and then disintegrate into dust. As you all are blown back at the force of unleashing this. Everybody who failed is going to take
A knockout damage.
take 8 force damage from as the concussive blast of purple energy bursts from the crystal. Slowly you see color and life return to the foliage up here on this cliff and at the edge of the room. You see the small tiefling's body begin to stir. Who? What? He mumbles, blinking his pupilless blue eyes awake. Oh, by the Wild Mother! The blessing!
He's half of the party just against the wall, like, still getting up themselves.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, are you okay? Winshin will like kneel besides the halfling.
You see, he kind of pushes himself back up.
Was it a halfling or was it a tiefling?
Tiefling.
Tiefling.
You see his hand reach up to grasp at a holy symbol that is around his neck. He says, my name is Alden. I'm just in training to be the new Lightkeeper. Please help me up.
Moonzik will help.
As the two of you
As Cheem, of course.
help him onto his feet, he rushes over to the large crack left by the sword, muttering to himself an urgent prayer to the Wild Mother under his breath. You feel a soft, comforting breeze blowing through the windowless room as the crystal begins to reform, its warm yellow light now shining upon the ships wandering the harbor as it should be. Thank you so much. There are these people, these cultists. They just caught me and the Lightkeeper. They caught us off guard in the dark night.
Where was the Lightkeeper in here?
Well, the Lightkeeper pushed me out of the way, and everything kind of faded. I don't know where they might have taken her.
They.
Who?
Yeah, there was these people. They were coming in. They had these big black cloaks on, and their hoods were up. I don't know what language they were speaking, but It's one I've never heard before.
Are you able to recite a phrase that they said?
I mean, I can try. I don't know what phrase, but it sounded like I don't really know. Like hissing.
Did
I
they
don't.
have an insignia bearing something resemblant to that of a snake? Bearing it.
You see, he places his hand on his head, gives his temples a rub, before rubbing them to the bridge of his nose. Um, I I don't remember. All I know is it was really quick, and oh God, I hope she's okay. You can see at this point in time he started to make his way around the room, looking for the lightkeeper.
Well, if the same thing that happened to you happened to her, she'd be up and moving by now. I think it's pretty clear she's not here. We need... You probably are confused, scared. Like I am a little bit. But, I think the best thing for us to do is to, go report back to the guard we talked to earlier. And,
If the
see
Zaleho
what...
if the Zaleho down in the lobby are still around, we should probably help them out as well.
Yes.
Exactly.
We should probably go check up on those scouts. There's a good chance their life support had been cut off.
Well, same thing happened here, and he's fine. So, I'll hope to that, but let's hurry.
Let's hurry.
Before we leave, can Soren look around the room to see if there was anything left behind by these intruders?
Go ahead and roll me an investigation check. The only thing you can think of, honestly, especially now that almost all of the tangle of blight that had captured this room, has kind of faded and disintegrated to dust. Um, the only thing of note is the sword that is currently in Windchime's hand.
You're feeling alright, right? No weird side effects, no
Uh,
urge to stab things?
do Windchime like takes a second to feel out herself? Does she feel weird?
No urge to choke anybody.
No, I feel fine. This sword is pretty cool.
We should probably identify that, make sure we're not about to get, like, horrifically cursed. Alongside the amulet.
Right.
Brian's gonna offer another piece of cloth. Same concept as the, amulet from earlier.
I mean, just for good measure, I can identify that too. Although I'm assuming this insignia itself may,
Wait,
possibly
you have identify still prepared?
It doesn't hurt.
Well, we'll do that after we make sure the guards are okay.
Yes, the safeties should be a priority right now.
Actually, I was thinking I could identify it.
All right.
Go ahead.
What kind of identification would I do?
It's a spell.
Can I do like? Wait, I don't have this spell.
Oh, okay.
I can do a history check on it though.
You can make a history check. Sure. You do. The only thing of real note is is the snake-like appearance of its hilt. As the snake coils around, it's got two beady purple eyes that appear to be glowing. As you make your way down the blade, you see that it almost looks like vines, coils of snakes, something along those lines. It's just lightly um like you can see it. It's not engraved. That's not the correct word, but it's like acid. You know, like when you
Mhm.
can put designs into blades with acid. I don't know what that's called specifically.
Acid etching.
Etching.
Yep.
Um, as you see the etchings of vines all the way down either side of the blade. It's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Thank you, Forged in Fire.
That's what I was thinking of that show when I just couldn't remember what it was called. I love that show. Great
It's a fantastic
Great
show.
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 Not sponsored by Discovery. Or History. Or History.
Could be sponsored by Discovery.
uh,
Hit us up.
okay.
Yeah, so
I
it
think it has
seems
something to do with the snake-like appearance, but you don't know much more information about that. It's obscure knowledge.
okay.
As big
It
as
definitely had something to do with the vines that were all around here. Because you can see from the etching in the sword itself. Ooh, it looks so pretty.
And by the fact that when we pulled it out, all the vines left.
True, yes, that too.
how big this sword
Come on,
is.
let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Making your way back down the lighthouse right before you leave, Alden says to you, I I think I'm okay. Um you see he's kind of like shaking a little bit before he touches the holy symbol once more, and his body begins to relax a little bit as he looks up at you with his blue uh, pupilless eyes, and says, it's my responsibility now that the Lightkeeper is gone to stay here and tend tend to the lighthouse. Um, I feel fine, just a little rattled.
Do you need anything that we can request for you?
He shakes his head. No, I've got a lot of praying to do.
Well, the least we can do is make sure that Zalejo is posted here.
Thank you.
I'm sure they'll have done that per our recommendation or not, but
If you
let's go,
find
guys.
more information about the cult, let me know.
Would you happen to know anybody who might possess more information relating to this cult?
I'm afraid you have as much knowledge as I do, probably more so.
Is there any more information you can give us about the characters that came here? Did you see any of them beneath the robes?
No, it all happened so quickly. I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize. We're
I'm
just
just
happy.
glad you're all right.
I was just about to say. Took the words right out of my mouth. All right.
Oh,
We'll depart. Stay safe.
Thank you. May she light your way as you guys make your way uh, down the lighthouse.
Brian is
You see,
running. She feels like we've taken way too much time up there, and that they might be like on their last, like breaths. So she wants to get down there with the ability to cast Spare the Dying as fast as possible.
at the bottom of the lighthouse, you see there is movement from several corners um, of the 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 location that you were in before, um, as there is a stirring of the now awake Zalejo Scout Party. Um,
Are you all right?
just and you see that they're all kind of just like mumbling to themselves, clearly not having fared as well as Alden, whether that be from divine protection or whatnot. Weak and delirious. Um, you all help the guards back into Nicodrana's pop proper down the side of um the cliff. Seeing walking through, seeing the damage that the vines have done, mostly all but fade. Um, a party of Zalejo come to meet you about halfway uh, up the cliffside. Uh, as the Zalejo from before, the captain, guard, whatnot, uh, gives you a big thank you, uh, as they begin to help um, the Zalejo scouts um, out.
We can talk about this later, but I don't believe this threat is done.
Certainly, as they all get ushered down the base of the cliff. You see, as they're walking, the once like delirious guards seem to start to gain a little bit more of their wits about them. Uh, as they slowly begin.
While we're there, I am going to suggest posting one guard up there as quickly as possible, just to make sure that they don't try and restart the issues.
Or that
Barking
there's
orders,
yeah.
barking the same orders that you have suggested. The uh, uh, the superior officer assigns a small guard uh, to look after the lighthouse. We'll certainly keep an eye out for certain future in, incidents. Um, did you find the source of the issue? The
We
guard from before says.
we think
We
so.
did. A thought magical in some way or another um, was lodged into the crystal, and the crystal was amplifying whatever power it had, causing the effects we saw.
I
Um,
see.
we're still we've yet to identify it, but we have the ability to.
Well, um, I cannot thank you enough for you know for dealing with this. Um, if you make your way up to the barracks, we can pay you handsomely for your efforts.
I
They've
appreciate
already been
this.
informed.
Well, this problem itself has been resolved. The culprits behind it were not there when uh, we got in. They had already made their way out. I
See,
think I can speak for the entire party when I say we don't like to leave jobs half done. And as much as we definitely did what we set out to do, we'd also like to follow this thread if there be a thread to follow.
Music's gonna turn, Cheem's gonna turn to Edward or no, that's right. Brian has the medallion. Would you mind showing them the medallion really quick to kind of so they know what kind of symbols to keep an eye out for?
He's gonna be very careful taking it out with making sure not to touch any exposed part. She's gonna open up the cloth. We found this amulet in the middle of a creature. We don't know if it's cursed yet. Again, identify will be used quite shortly, but
He looks it over and says, "We will keep an eye out for any symbols of such."
gonna wrap it up. Put it back. All right, to the barracks then.
To the barracks.
Making your way to the barracks, you all enter and grab your reward. With a hefty sum of 225 gold pieces to be distributed amongst you. For safe
Jesus.
return.
We're
For safe,
a party of 5, you said?
for safe return of the guards
That's,
and for dealing with the issue.
I believe that's 45 gold for each of
45.
us.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just so you all are aware, because we've been dealing with large sums for a while now. This is a very handsome price.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into the dreamy eyes of this handsome prince. I mean, Price.
Excuse
And,
me.
uh, Price. I totally didn't say prince just about now.
Uh-huh. Anywho, I don't suppose we should go find Bell and Nahiri.
I think
Definitely should.
we identify these things now.
True.
That's also valid. We don't want to.
All right.
We don't want to
yeah.
go parading around with them with some kind of unknown danger.
There, it's probably fine.
I'm gonna cast identify ritually on both items.
Okay.
Shoot.
You see.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just realized something that Brian and Edward need to talk about, but this is not the time.
You begin to ritually cast Identify. The amulet or pendant doesn't appear to have any magical effects. And the sword appears to be a +1 magical sword to both damage and attack, with the ability to cast entangling plants twice a day. Excuse me.
So we can cast Entangle twice a day?
Yeah.
What kind of sword is it?
It's just a
A
+1.
+1.
Is it
Well-
is it attuned or not?
Usually items that let you cast spells are attuned, but like
But
It is
Games
attunement, yes.
it is attunement.
What does that mean?
It means it takes up somebody's attunement
so you have
slot.
3 attunement slots, and you can only attune to 3 items at once that require attunement. Basically, it's just to prevent players from just like having like 50 different items with different effects on at the same time,
Okay.
right? Like, for balancing reasons, right? Like you can't have like armor and then like 50 different swords and then like 50 different magic items that also stack, like, to do
Think of a
whatever.
pretty cool spell. Soren, you interested? Or we could try and sell it. I'm sure we'd get
I
something from it.
I kind of want to keep it.
Yeah?
Is it
Yeah.
a short sword or a long sword? I think I missed that part.
It's a longsword.
Oh,
Okay, it's a martial weapon. Clerics
So
don't have
Lily would be able to use it, or Windchime would be able to use it.
Does
She does have
Windchime have martial proficiency?
Been around a couple times. Like, see how cool this is?
Careful where you're swinging it. I don't want to get my head chopped off.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'd heal you back up.
Oh, my decapitation?
Decapitation doesn't sound like a fun way to go.
Just a little flesh wound.
By the way, Soren,
Tis a
Ha-
scratch.
you had this question earlier. How does Eldritch Blast taste?
yeah, would I know how Eldritch Blast tastes? I know I got shot with it.
We
It
had
is.
this question earlier.
It is up to description. Like that is all you flavor.
Flavor.
Literally.
Literal. Flavor in the literal sense.
How does it taste?
Well, I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, I did get a face full of it, but it was in the moment. Honestly, I think. Have you ever eaten a spell?
I mean, no?
Oh,
I've eaten food
that
from
makes
Create Food and Drink.
one of
Does
us.
that count?
It tastes like magic, magic.
Oh, like when you have one of your spells backfire and you get that staticky feeling and then your mouth fills up a little bit? Like that?
Yeah, sure.
What, nobody else has had a spell backfire?
You're asking a
so
rogue who
far.
has no magical capabilities.
Bullshit, you transform all the time. That's not a spell.
Never thought of it that way, but I'm not sure, actually. But I mean, that's never really backfired on me regardless, so.
Fair enough.
Okay. You all begin to make your way. Brian, you gather that we're thinking about thinking about where Bella would take Nahiri. Your first thought is Baron's Books, Brews, and Buns.
Yeah, they're probably here. Also, we should probably hurry. Bella's a total flips.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But doesn't she have a girlfriend already now?
I mean, she does. That doesn't stop her from flirting.
Huh.
I mean, she was flirting with me like half of the bath episode.
What episode? What's an episode?
Period of
Are you referring
time
to, like,
that you
period
can
of time?
observe at 30 minutes or less. Well, actually, it's a little bit more than that, but
Does this include advertisement breaks?
sometimes depends on where you go during your episode. I
This
remember
is-
hearing something about Sky Zephyrs. Sounds like a really cool product.
I don't know. It doesn't really seem familiar to me. Does this have anything to do with the fact that you sometimes like to zone out and mutter about, you know, everything that's happened within the past day every now and then?
Look, I'm practicing for Bellwether. Okay? He always wants the stories. I have to figure out how to make them interesting. Not all of our days are fighting dragon turtles.
Well, they could be if you said they were.
Yes,
I
but
mean,
where's look, stories have to be mostly true.
That's true. Yeah. No,
They
but
have to tell the truth, even if they don't have 100% true wording.
so that's how you do it.
And that's just not true.
No, they have to tell the truth though. That's why I care. Right?
Oh, okay.
Ayun is all about truth. It's all about revealing the truth, but there are multiple ways to it.
Yeah,
This has
kind of
been
like
an
being a
awesome
lawyer. You just have
adventure.
to be technically true in the worst way possible.
Ugh, you guys are impossible. I'm sure my teacher will agree with me. Right?
I don't know.
All right, let's go. And oh, look, we're here.
You make your way to Baron. You see the inside of this shop has more of a hip and modern interior than the other buildings you've entered here. It's constructed of and framed by natural wooden bookshelves. Full glass windows fill the space with natural light. Tables for studying and couches for relaxing break up the onslaught of bookshelves, and you see a desk in the back for ordering coffee, snacks, teas, um, the likes, and for presumably to check out the books. It is, imagine a fantasy
Barnes and
Barnes
Noble
and Noble
with
uh,
Starbucks
with the Starbucks on the inside.
every fucking time.
um, Brian's gonna go. Is she's gonna start like tisking as if for a cat. Chester. Is-
As you one more time, say that again.
She's tisking for Chester the cat who lives here.
Oh, right. So you see as you approach the walk a little bit of a ways inside, you see lounging sprawled across directly the center of the counter uh is a large Maine Coon cat that is just like sprawled all the way across with long hair. Um, you see somebody, a barista for the coffee shop, has to like kind of set the cup of some sort of iced coffee. Kind of has to push the his fur to the side to fit it on the smallest little bit of remaining countertop space that is there. Uh, but he seems to pay no mind. Uh, as
Yes.
you give a little like a chirp um to beckon his attention, you see he quickly his ears perk up uh and he stands up very elegantly knocking over the cup of coffee without so much of a glance back at him before pouncing down to intertwine between your ankles.
You do remember me. It's been so long since I've been here. Hi. Hello. We should probably figure out where they are. I've just missed this cat.
Uh, you see the barista from the other side, apologizing profusely at uh, an older woman who was hoping for some coffee, is fine Lori as she kind of rushes around to clean up the mess.
Poor barista. All right. Where are Belle and Nahiri?
Um, Meandering the shelves, you find tucked in a back corner by a one of the many fireplaces that exists here, uh, low to the ground and sleek. Uh, you find them relaxing, each with a couple of books in hand. Nahiri appears to be doodling something she is reading out of a book.
We made it back.
Oh, hey, how are you doing? Anybody hurt, injured, or otherwise maimed?
Horrifically. I got stabbed twice.
I got bludgeoned over the
Wow,
head.
look at you guys go. Uh, Nahiri, her eyes dash up from her paper to make eye contact with you, Windchime, and her face softens as she sees that you are all right and alive.
Look at this cool sword I got.
Oh, wow, that's a fancy looking sword.
I know,
Uh,
right?
as she gets up to examine the sword with you, uh, just setting behind her on the chair the books and drawing that she was working on.
I wouldn't worry too much about this one. That sword was wedged into that crystal damn good. Three of us couldn't get it out, but she just walked up one hand, yoink.
Excuse you, two of you couldn't get it out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is your magic not helping? Three of
Mm.
us.
Actually, his magic did not help us.
Well, yes, but my point is he was trying.
Uh, yeah,
Some
yeah,
ex-
let's go with that.
some Excalibur nonsense going on with that sword, I swear.
Maybe
No,
she's
I just think
chosen.
Windcham is that powerful.
Thank you.
Maybe she's just the chosen exalted one, and you guys are just a bunch of side characters to her story.
I'd believe it.
Wow.
Holy warrior and all that.
Um, you see, Nahiri whispers something into Windchime's ear.
So, I'm surprised there's not at least one of our other friends here. Belle, there's always one of us.
I
Feels
guess
like, anyway.
that would be me. Um, the historians' meeting is going to take place at the Withered Bird. That's where he was working now these days.
Berkeley or, No, Berkeley's still in the archives, right?
Yeah, Alexander. Barkley is working in the archives. Alexander is working his rounds at the taverns. You know how it is.
Ah, right. Telling his, telling the stories that we dig up from the books.
Always, never stops.
Good. He has a friendly face to it. I think it makes people in the bar more likely to drink.
I mean, that's why they hire bards, huh?
Is he officially one now? Or is he still half scholar, half bard?
Well, you can't shake the scholar out of him. That's where he gets all his stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he spends most of his time working at the Witherbird. It's
I feel
actually
like
hard to
I've
find
missed
him
so.
these days.
I feel like I've missed so much. Only been
You
gone a
have.
couple of months.
So much has happened in the past couple of months.
So much has happened in the last couple of months. Are we heading there now, or?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She begins to put the books back onto the shelves and as you guys make your way out of Barron's.
Do we need to swing
Back.
by to pick up the mimic cloak?
We haven't even
Oh, that's
figured
right.
out
We
how to
haven't.
get money yet.
We haven't.
But it's on hold.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Um, Making your way across town once again. All over the city, you guys go to the Witherbird Inn. Uh, let's see. Let me just pull this up. Ba-ba-ba.
Squirrel Wheel doesn't want to cooperate with me.
I hate it when it does that. We're gonna go back here. We're going to remove this. Let's go ahead. Remove that.
Damn, a green screen with just Edward.
Why is Edward in the corner?
I don't know. Edward, do you want to explain?
Okay. Let me DM loading tip, please.
All right. DM loading tip. Even if more than one factor gives you advantage or disadvantage on a roll, you only have to have it once. If you have advantage and disadvantage on the same roll, they cancel each other out. You don't get double advantage or triple advantage in any way. You can just have multiple sources, one advantage.
Note that this advantage still actually counts towards Rogue's sneak attack, even though it's a neutral roll.
Oh yeah, that's true. I
There
forgot
you
about
go.
that.
DM loading tip.
That's actually a very good point. Also, if you have 3 sources of advantage and 1 source of disadvantage, it is still a straight roll.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
I guess that makes sense.
All barbarians can basically have a neutral roll, like at any given scenario, no matter how many different things are stacked against them. They say no, I'm just gonna reckless, and then boom, neutral roll.
Okay. You see, Alexander. Gosh, give me a second. Go ahead and do me another one.
Okay. If your proficiency bonus applies to a roll, you can add the bonus only once to the roll, even if multiple things in the game say your bonus applies. Moreover, if more than one thing tells you to double or half your bonus, you double it only once, or half it only once before applying it. Whether multiplied, divided, or left at its normal value, the bonus can be used only once per roll.
Yeah. Also, another DM loading tip. Get creative with how you use your certain spells for certain things. For example, see invisibility allows you to see invisible creatures, but it's an entirely niche spell and is not very useful in situations where they don't feature invisible creatures. You can then substitute certain spells that would allow you to detect a presence of an invisible creature without actually using see invisibility. Some notable examples include locate object if you locate an item or a weapon that the enemy is holding, detect magic, which allows you to see the presence of magical effects, i.e., illusion spells magic on invisible creatures at their location, or even detect thoughts, which allow you to detect presences of creatures that you can't actually see.
Unfortunately,
All
all
three
of
of them,
these.
all three of them will still impose disadvantage on attack rolls against them, while they have advantage on attack rolls against you. But if you can bypass the disadvantage entirely if you use a spell that requires a saving throw, as that doesn't actually require you to roll an attack roll that you would have disadvantage on.
Very fun part about that. The invisibility also doesn't negate the advantage and disadvantage part.
Yes, it does. You can literally see them.
You can see them, but because of the way D&D is written, um, rules as written, you have when you go invisible, you have the invisible condition, which means all attacks against you while you are invisible have disadvantage, and all attacks you make have advantage. It doesn't actually matter whether they can see you or not. True sight negates that, but see invisibility does not.
Oh, that's a little awkward. Why is see
Okay.
invisibility useful over detect magic again?
It's not. It's just straight up not.
Okay.
Like literally detect magic is just better see
Yeah,
invisibility, I guess.
yes.
We're
I mean,
ready to
then
go.
again, it does require concentration.
We are ready to go.
But it's also first level.
As you walk into the Withered Bird Inn, um, you see you see a ba, 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 ba. You see the half Goliath man with a lute in one hand, thrumming a sort of melody, and a handful of patrons with drinks in hand, talking amongst themselves. A few of them have their eyes on the half Goliath you see before you, um, but many of which aren't focusing much at all. Uh, when in the middle of his song, uh, his eyes glance up to make eye contact with yours, Brian, as you see the pitch of the song rises ever so slightly as a smile uh, crosses his face, and he finishes the song with a flourish. Uh, before excusing himself, setting his lute down, and making his way towards you with just his tall,
Brian is bracing for bracing.
his tall frame just enveloping you in the biggest hug, uh, as he says, "I have missed you so fucking much, Brian." Oh,
Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! Ribs! Ribs! Ribs!
no, it's never letting go.
Oh god! Help!
Well, I think you
Oh
got this
god!
under control.
Oh, I think you got this.
But just because I can teleport, you assholes!
With that, you see
She's
his
gonna ride out.
arms,
She's gonna ride out the.
with the teleportation mention, you see his arms relax, and he kind of gives you a quizzical look and says, "Teleportation."
No, I've been able to do that.
Right. Sorry.
That is
Bella
the
was
racial trait.
yeah. Bella was just telling me about all of the things that you're able to do now, and I don't know. I just I don't know. I thought
No, that's still the racial. That's the thing I've been able to do for a while. But you're right. There are some better things, more fun things than teleportation for sure. Uh, it is really good to see you as well.
big old half glass smile.
So, how has the job been? How has everything been going with the stories? Did you find a new one?
I did find there's one I've been itching to play for a while. Just I don't know. It's long.
I mean, she's gonna look around at the group. Are we going anywhere? Do we have too much stuff to listen into? We find super cool stories. Not all of them are, factual or from history, but you do enough research and you find myths and legends and stories from all sorts of hidden and old scrolls. We like to tell them every once in a while. Alexander is probably the best at telling them.
He flashed you a smile. Well, I don't know. I try my best. I things things have been going really well, Brian.
Really
I
happy to hear that.
it's really great to be actually making a living doing what I love.
Wait, that's new. You're y- you're off grants? You paid it off?
His smile uh grows even larger as a sense of pride fills his chest as he says, "Well, not completely. I still have a few debts to pay, but um, things
You're
have been going really well for me.
but you're making headway. You're not. Oh, that's so cool.
I should have it paid off at this rate by the end of the year."
Like I knew you had less than the rest of us. Well, than the rest of most of the school, because you kept working. But uh, no, that's so awesome that you're now actually making headway on that.
Feels good. I've moved out of the dorms. I have a place here, actually, a little room. It's not much, but it's mine.
Probably cheaper than the dorms. They're not
Oh,
exactly.
so much. It's included.
Well, good first step then. Well,
Anyway,
you probably have to tell at least one or two stories in song or out of it to continue making your keep. Are we all are we all staying for that? I'm looking at the party.
I suppose so.
I won't mind at all.
Mm, This he did warn us the stories are long. I certainly want to hear it. I just want to make sure we're all in for a long story.
We got the
um,
time. There's no rush.
with that, uh, he pulls you in for another hug before going back to his place and regards an older dwarf man uh, as he begins playing. At the foot of the last mountain sat the last village, and in the last village lived Tao. It was Tao's birthday. While he was working on the corn, his friend Samuel shouted for him to come quick. Tao ran to the edge of the village where the death barrier was. And beyond the death barrier was his father, lying on the ground. Tao ran to his father. His father wasn't breathing, so he dragged the old man over the death barrier, and the village doctor checked his father over. The doctor said, "I'm sorry, he's dead. The snake did this." The next day, the village folk came to Tao's house and said, "Isn't it a shame? Sorry for your loss," and so on. Tao thanked them, and then he was alone again. He hoped he would get good at being alone soon. That night, he watched the great mountain, glowing with light and the madness of the new gods. Who knew what they were doing up there? When Tao slept, he dreamt of the snake that had killed his father. Its fangs curved like scimitars, its eyes full of rage and malice and pride and all of the evil that it had exacted on the village folk for hundreds of years, bringing disease and misery. And now it had brought death to his father. Enough. Tao got up just before dawn. He packed some water and food into a satchel, then went to the pyre where his father had been cremated, and took his father's ashes and put them in a jam jar. He walked out to the boundary of the village, to the death barrier. Stop! Someone yelled. It was the village doctor. You step over the barrier and you'll die. Leave the snake be. You can't fight him. Tao closed his eyes and stepped over the death barrier and walked out into darkness. Tao trudged about the forest all day, looking for the snake, but found nothing. He saw his father's face in the trees. Where had his father gone? The man who had given him his time, his love, and taught Tao how the world worked. He brought Tao breakfast in the mornings and blankets in the evenings. He had brought him up, but his father had gone off into the dark alone now. And Tao knew he couldn't bring his father breakfast or bring him blankets or bring him back. The snake, the bastard. He would kill him. Tao was out of water and thirsty. He spied the great mountain over the trees and walked towards it. At the foot of the mountain was a river. He drank from the river for a long time. When he looked up again, there was an old woman sat a few feet away on the ground. The old woman took a swig from her hip flask. Tao turned to leave. Hey! The old woman yelled. Tao ignored her. She said, You look like someone with unfinished snake-related business. Tao stopped. What do you know about the snake? A green one, about yay high, she said. Maybe. She pointed up the mountain. I saw him. He went that way, he did. Did he now? Tao said. Oh, yes, and a mighty sneaky wiggle he had about him also. Yeah. Tao began to walk away. That's where the snake lives, you know, the old woman said. On the mountain. That's where he thinks up all of his evil plans. And he was mumbling something about how he had just killed an old man, too. Wow. That's beyond coincidence, Tao thought. Maybe she knew something. Tao started off for the mountain instead. Hey! The old woman yelled, but Tao ignored her. He walked for some minutes before he spied another figure ahead, sat on the ground. It was the old woman, again. How did you get here? Tao said. She took a draw from her hip flask. You'll need a guide, she said, a chaperone. He's an awfully tricky to beat, old Snakels. Tao said, not to be rude, but you're drunk and old and a bit useless, really. You are being rude, she said. Tao walked on, but she followed behind. I know things, she said. I know things about the snake and the new gods, too. Rubbish, Tao said. Is it? Said the old woman. Take me up the mountain. and I'll teach you how to kill the snake. I'll kill him myself, with my bare hands, Tao said. No, said the old woman. No, you won't. And they looked about under rocks and then in holes. But the snake wasn't there. He must have gone farther up. And so they climbed. They slept rough, and in the morning they had breakfast. For Tao it was bread, for the old woman it was her hip flask. They continued walking up the mountain. By midday, they were high enough to look down on the landscape properly. There was Tao's village, unremarkable, just a few buildings and wisps of smoke in the valley. Are there other villages in the world? Tao asked. No. Were there? Yes. When? A long time ago. There used to be very big villages called cities once. Lots of people back then. What happened? Ambition, the old woman said. She drank from her hip flask. Say, boy, when you kill the snake, and he is gone, you think you'll be happy forever then? Without pausing, Tao said, yes. The old woman said. Huh. They looked about under rocks, then in holes, but the snake wasn't there. He must have gone farther up. And so they climbed. They slept rough again and woke to a gray and sickly dawn. They set off in silence, and soon they came to a fog that collected about their knees. The air smelt metallic. The daylight looked wrong. What's happening? Tao said. The old woman said nothing, only swigged on her hip flask. Tao saw something in the dirt, silver and complicated. What's that? He said. Old science, the hag said. What's science? The old woman said, sort of like magic, but it works. There were more machines now. Silver, glass, great towers of geometry and industry. Who built these things? Tao said. Well, the new gods, of course. Well, why have they abandoned them? Because all children get bored of their toys eventually, she said. And about them appeared lines and symbols, and esoteric glyphs in the airs, and lights flashed in the distance, and a great wind picked up, and the metallic reek grew thicker. The rocks were not rocks now, but hexagonal metal slabs, and the trees were twisting candles of crystal. And ahead glowed a pedestal. Upon the pedestal was a set of spectacles. The old woman picked them up. Here, boy, she said. There are glasses you'll know the snake with. Glasses? Tao said. My vision's fine. No, it's not. And she put them on his face. Suddenly, Tao was pulled from his body and his senses. He saw the world without her mask on, a tangle of fields and dimension, the height of time, the width of space, and he knew that then the matter was both a point and a wave and a joke, and he saw the logic at the bottom of everything, and the madness at the top, and the shape of becoming, the dance of decline, and he saw himself in true perspective, a speck on a blot, on a smudge, on a blemish, on a fleck, on a grain of galactic sand amid a billion other beaches, and those beaches themselves only made up more grains of sand, and 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 more grains of sand. The woman removed the glasses. What was that? Tao whispered. Oh, 31st century science. A little bit before your time. She gave him the glasses. Keep these safe, eh? Who are you? Tao said. Oh, she replied, who is anyone? They looked about under rocks then, in holes, but the snake wasn't there. He must have gone further up, and so they climbed. The next morning, they woke after dawn and had a fine view of Tao's village below. Tao said, why is the world dead? The old woman said, everyone's got clever, and now they're gone. Where are they gone? Tao said, and pointed to the sky. There? She shrugged. Come on. Time is getting on. They continued up the mountain, the high peak above, the village low below. Tao thought again of his father. He imagined the days ahead as empty and overcast. No one to talk to, truly. No more games, no more laughing. When he found the snake, he would rip it apart. He spied a stream then. The water was red, and he realized it was blood. The stream of blood grew thicker as they climbed. No, it was a river of blood. And on the ground there were notes, coins, precious jewels, staffs, and scepters. The ground was scorched, and from the ground rose smoldering vapors, and the air stank of death and glory and dominion. And ahead, Tao spied a sword. It was sticking out of the soil, its hilt glinting red and purple and gold, and the blade an opulent silver. They sided closer. Take it from the ground then, boy, the old woman said. What is it? Tao said. It's the sword you'll kill the snake with. And with great effort, Tao wrenched the sword from the ground and brandished it. And great plumes of fire and lightning leapt from the tip and set the ground alight. Tao brandished it again and shot out swarms of locusts and wasps. And he bellowed a great stentorian laugh, and laughter echoed out over the plain of the mountain. Everything was power. Everyone would listen to him now. The village elders, the oracles, the bullies, the brutes, hell, even the snake when the time came. He laughed again, and the mountains was only fire and lightning then, and he was only power and malignancy and rage, and thou shalt always kill, he thought, and he knew that no one could do a damn thing to stop him ever again. And more than that, with a dastardly certainty, he supposed that with this thing he could end the world if he wanted to. The next morning, Tao ate in silence, and the old woman drank in silence, and they got walking as usual. Tao said, how long till we find the snake? The old woman drank and said nothing. Isn't that thing empty already? Tao said. She turned the flask upside down and outpoured a constant stream of booze that didn't end. Are you one of the new gods? Tao said. Do I look new? The old woman replied. Well, what happened to the new gods? The snake, she said. It killed them? Sure. Tao stopped. Well, how in the hell do you think I was going to beat it if it killed the new god? It had crossed my mind, the old woman mumbled. Still, the glasses and sword will serve you well. We have a few more things to collect up here. Like what? Tao said. But already he heard music, upbeat, calling to him. They came on the remains of a great party. empty bottles, discarded trinkets. What happened here? Tao said. Abandoned, said the old woman. In the ruins of old and ostentatious house burnt partly to the ground was a tankard that glowed. And inside the tankard was what looked like and smelled like mead. Go on, the old woman said. Drink a little. What is it? Tao said. It's the indulgence that you'll kill the snake with. And with that, Tao drank, and the cup came away. The old woman grabbed Tao's hand and led him into a dance. The mountain began to spin about them, the colors blurring. What's happening? Tao yelled, and the old woman yelled back, That's it! Dance! Dance, you bastard! And Tao and the old woman danced across the mountain, over debauchery and under the moon, and suddenly Tao was not thinking of his father, or the snake, or the village. What if there's no point to anything? The old woman sang. Who cares? Who cares? Tao agreed. Tragedies happen. People die. It's all a game. It's all a facade. There's no salvation. There's no meaning. He saw into the heart of things now and knew there was no heart, that everything was suffering, and even that didn't matter. A joke god was playing on the world for nothing more than his own sick amusement. They moved to the cliffs, feet stepping in perfect time, the stars spinning about at dizzying paces, and the mountain echoed with the music of reckless abandon, and nothing mattered now. Fuck 'em, Chow thought, fuck 'em! And they danced the nihilist waltz long into the night until the sun began to rise. Tao woke with a throbbing head and a mouth that tasted like death. The old woman was already up, smoking a pipe. Oh, well, she said. Mm, Tao mumbled. Was the dancing really necessary? He said. The old woman nodded. Certainly was. Come on, we're very close now. The snake can't hide forever. I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what the hell is going on, Tao shouted suddenly. Where are the new gods? Where's the snake? And who are you? Yeah, whatever. Come on then. She set off walking. But Tao didn't move. She paused and rolled her eyes. All right, she muttered. What's the year? 326, Tao said. By your calendar, yes. By mine, it's the 98th century. Your ancestors did some wonderful things and became very powerful and wise, all right? And those objects, the glasses, the sword, and the tankard, those are the things they left behind. Relics. Relics of what? I'll show you. No, Tal yelled. No more games. The old woman snapped then. Look, she said, you're only doing all of this because you think you killed your father. He asked you what you wanted for your birthday, and you said a meteorite. So he went out beyond the death barrier to find you one, and that's how he ended up dead. So don't take all of this out on me. Tao was silent a while, and then said quietly, How do you know that? Because I'm really clever, and I'm trying to help you here, so would you give an old woman a break? Tao thought about this and collected his things, and they walked on in silence. The village was almost invisible below. The mountain peak was very close. They turned a corner and came upon a picture of a king, then a queen, then more. The portraits regal and proud, with faces that spoke of legacy and divine right. They pushed on, and now the portraits were scenes that Tao didn't recognize, of battles and rulers and machines and great structures that kissed the skyline. Episodes from his species' history that he had never even heard of, let alone considered. Millions dead and gone, while nation states turned to dust, the great human project forgotten, as though a dream upon waking. Testament to a time when billions lived on a fragile marble in the ink dark of space, holding out against the hostile cosmos, and yet worse threats lurked within themselves. And somehow, for a long time, against all odds and sense, they did hold out, bettering themselves slowly, as a toddler attempts to climb a set of steps, and then, for some reason, devolving again. The great sleep, the great forgetting, sent to bed without stupor, then decline, then savagery, then dust. Ahead, Tao spied a pair of armored boots. There, the old woman said, for as long as you wear those, you'll never die. You can live into your thousands if you'd like. This is the armor you'll use to defend yourself from the snake. They fitted perfectly. And one more thing, the old woman said, and she took from a shawl a necklace. And on the necklace was a locket, and in the locket was a picture of Tao's father. She put the necklace over his head. To remember, she said. This is the story you'll kill the snake with. And he finally felt ready to do battle since he began his adventure up the mountain. He knew it would only be a short walk now. The peak was just a few yards away. It was only a small plateau. The wind was high here. It was raining. And there sat the snake, its back turned to Tao, staring off into the dead wilderness below. There you are, the old woman said. Do as you will. With the glasses of the new gods on his face, he saw the snake in its essence. Its black heart, its cunning mind, its contempt for the last remaining humans. Tao approached it, silently, his heart in temples, his eyes wide, his hands clutching the locket of his father, and he thought of his father then. He thought of the men dead, through the futility of death, and he closed his eyes and screamed and brought down the sword with such power that it struck a grating chord out into the rain and rang all the way back to the mountain's base. And he opened his eyes. The snake was gone. Tao turned to the old woman. Where did he go? Do you see him? No, said the old woman. I didn't see him because he doesn't exist. The rain was getting heavier. Tao stood silently in his armor, and the old woman said, Did you really think that there was some evil snake on a mountain bringing death and misery to the village? Did you really think the world was so simple that the only one thing is responsible for all of the bad days? God, what is it with you lot? You have everything, you know that? And you spit on it, like living in some enormous mansion, and one day you find a chipped brick, so you burn the whole damn house down. You've got everything down there. I gave you everything. Endless food, endless life, and you're still miserable. Do you know how difficult it is playing deity? I'd give anything just to give up knowing everything. And on the skyline appeared a shimmering and translucent buildings, high technology and silence. They got everything they wanted, your ancestors, the old woman said, and they still weren't happy. The snake was there, misery, chaos, death. They tried sending it away with perfect knowledge. They tried killing it with ultimate power. They tried forgetting it with abandon. They tried living longer. They tried clinging to each other. The spectacles, the sword, the tanker, the armor, and the necklace. They looked about under rocks then and in holes, but the snake wasn't there. He must have gone farther up, so they climbed and climbed and climbed and found nothing. It was just them in the miserable universe, and they were still miserable. So the new gods are all gone now, all except me. And your species is gone now too, except your village, the old mold of living. I keep you lot around because it's a nice souvenir to how we were once. I'm sorry that your father is gone. I'm sorry you'll never see him again. But there's a whole village down there of people who love you. And here you are screaming at the wind on a fucking mountain. Bad things happen, and there are reasons for them, and they are complicated. There is no snake, no witch, no evil genius, and there will never come a time when everything lasts forever and nothing ever hurts again. But the strength is in taking a good look into the abyss, into the snake, into the eyes of it, and then choosing still to be a good human. Even in the face of great uncertainty and malice, and that day where everything will be gone forever, and it is not gone yet. It won't be. Not for ages. Don't waste your time on snakes and windmills. Tao, say goodbye. She took the jam jar out of Tao's satchel and gave it to him. She put her arm around his shoulder. Slowly, Tao opened the jar, and the wind took the ashes of his father and flung them out over the mountain. And in the last light of dusk, they were not unlike a million tiny little meteorites, all done with being cosmic and bound for the everyday ground. The woman said, "Your species, and mine once too, we must be the only creatures allergic to happiness. We ruled the galaxy a long time ago, and still quibbled over who got more ice cream for dessert. Still wanted to pretend we didn't come from the mud. Still couldn't accept that the meaning and solace aren't to be found in the heavens, but in the trenches of everyday living. We'll know everything, and then we'll be okay. We'll kill everything, and then we'll be okay. We'll forget everything, and then we'll be okay. We'll live forever, and then we'll be okay. We'll cling to everyone, and then we'll be okay. And even then, we weren't okay. Because that's just not how the game works. Go home, Tao. Don't try to be a hero or a sage or a warrior. Just exist for a while and be decent. That's heroism enough. It's how it's always been done. Hey, you want to keep the glasses, the sword, and the tankard and armor? You can rule the world if you'd like. No, Tao said. Good choice. Tao said, "Am I the first from the village to come up after the snake?" "Boy," the old woman said, "everyone from the village came up, one by one. I gave them all the same treatment. They all went back down. Even your father. God, he asked a lot of stupid metaphysical questions. I can see where you get it. You're the last one to come up here. Go home. Be human. The universe doesn't give a shit about you. Your village, your family, me, we do. Remember your dad. Love him always. God knows he loved you. And come up here anytime you'd like. And we'll hang out and remember him together." Tao took off the glasses, the armor, the tankard. and laid the sword on the ground. "Can I keep the necklace?" he said. "Of course," she said, "and the memories. They will always be yours too." The curtain of ashes was gone now. The sky was clear and fine. He set off back down the last mountain, bound for the last village. It would not be a difficult walk, and even if it were, he thought, he would not mind so much now. It would give him time to remember. You see, there's a moment of silence as Alexander rings out the last chord of the song, and it hangs thick in the air. You hear a sniffle.
Wow.
That was powerful.
Wow.
You okay, Edward?
I don't know. I just felt enamored by all of it, you know? You ever get that feeling?
Yeah, it's a lot. Alexander, where did you
Yes.
find that one?
Well, I found it in the archives, of course, but I did make some edits to it.
Oh, it
So both a
yes, tells
storyteller
us
and
a
a writer.
story. Age of Arcana after sounds like a
It
calamity
pre
story.
pre yeah, it was in a one of the few texts from pre Age of Arcana. It kind of rings particularly true when you think about what happened when the city's falling.
You truly have a gift for storytelling. It was enthralling in the way you were spinning the tale.
Thank you. You see, he turns around and he begins putting his hat out uh for people to donate to him. And you see people are quite a bit. This is very well received.
I'm gonna follow suit by dropping a gold coin in.
He gives you a smile.
Am I still banned?
You earned it.
Of course you are.
Then allow me to pay for her, and he's going to drop 2 gold in.
He gives you another smile. Um, and that is where we are going to end part one.
Hey.
All right. We will be back shortly for part 2, so we'll see you soon.